During our last visit to the wonderful F1 Derful, we watched quite an interesting video, which questioned why Lando Norris, Daniel Ricciardo, and Sebastian Vettel could throw their support behind Masi, given what had happened to them in the past. We have provided a link to the F1 Derful video at the end of this video. We can authoritatively shed some light on why Lando and Daniel have taken the positions that they have. But, we are unable to shed any further light on Sebastian Vettel's motivation. Daniel and Lando's comments are down to their boss Zak Brown, who prevailed on them to moderate their earlier criticisms, in the immediate aftermath of the Abu Dhabi race, by convincing them that Masi made a good faith mistake under pressure. In the immediate aftermath of Abu Dhabi, Daniel said,
I'm glad I'm not a part of that. Whatever just happened, it seemed pretty fucked up.
After Zak got to him, Daniel attempted to downplay his previously highly charged comments.
You probably had the best seat of anyone in the world watching that finale at the end.
It's a privilege.
Yeah, I mean, what was that like, first of all, just seeing that unfold? Because, you know, you're a race fan, that's why you're racing. To see that kind of historical moment unfold must have been pretty wild from that position.
It was, and it's funny because, you know, there was not only one lap to go, but my race I was not in the race. You know, it wasn't a great Sunday for me, so I was really a spectator at that last lap. And even, you know, going through turn 2 and 3, I could see Max was kind of close, and I'm like, is Lewis going to defend? What's going on? And then I'm pretty sure I saw his light flash, like he was clipping, and I was like, why is he clipping on the last lap? Like, you think he'd have all the battery to use. And then that's when Max went to pass, and I was like, how is this happening? I was watching as a fan in 2008, you know, the last lap drama unfold with Massa and Hamilton, and it was a lot to process. And I was just like, man, how would you feel if you're Hamilton right now? Like, you were leading, and then the safety car, and then this, and I was like, whoa. I was like, it's a lot to take in. So yeah, you know, after the race, my radio was broadcasted, I think, and I was like, man, I'm glad I wasn't a part of that. And yeah, it was too much, too much to handle. So for that reason, I was, I guess, glad I wasn't a part of probably what was going on inside Lewis's head in that moment.
However, in another interview a few days later, Daniel reverts back to his initial assessment. He continues to turn himself inside out, saying on one occasion, "Ultimately, I think if Michael wants to stay, then he should stay." Daniel's comments were somewhat qualified enough, for other later publications, to only refer to Lando as being the person in full support of Masi. Lando, on his part, had not been as forthright as his teammate in expressing his disapproval of what happened in the immediate aftermath of Abu Dhabi. He did, however, hit the nail on the head by highlighting the fact that the Mercedes' decision not to pit would have been determined by Masi's initial instruction that lapped cars were not allowed to unlap themselves, and it was therefore unfair of Masi to then reverse that decision. It was therefore a relatively easier task for Zak to walk Lando over to a more strident support for Masi. Why would Zak go to all this trouble, we hear you ask? Well, that is because he happens to be a fully paid up member of the racist, anti-Hamilton brigade, led by Liberty Media. Our regular viewers may recall that, in our previous video, Why is Martin Brundle always in the vanguard of attacks on Sir Lewis Hamilton, we showed how Liberty Media and its minions faked a report that outrageously claimed that Max was the most popular driver in F1. One of the companies responsible for that fake report is Motorsport Network. McLaren's Zak Brown was its chairman up until October 2019. This is the reason why the report made the ridiculously false claims that Lando Norris came out of nowhere to be more popular than Sir Lewis. And McLaren is now the world's #1 most popular team, followed by Red Bull. The report also makes other dubious claims of limited significance, but we can disregard them, given that the report is a work of fiction. We believe it was contrived primarily to promote Max Verstappen and discredit Lewis Hamilton, and Zak Brown, being in their circle of trust, took the opportunity to jump on the bandwagon to promote his drivers and his team. It is self-evident that Since the immediate aftermath of the race, when Lando and Daniel expressed their true feelings for the world to see, Liberty Media have had words with Zak Brown and, he in turn, has sold his drivers the false innocent mistake narrative. This is the classic dark art of media manipulation that Malone is renowned for. His favorite president and favored protege have both demonstrated the effectiveness of repeating lies through an extensive platform. It should be noted that the innocent mistake narrative was being promoted during the period when the FIA was still claiming that Masi had acted correctly and was effectively gaslighting the Jonathan Wheatley Masi audio, which was trending in the news and on social media concurrently. Furthermore, the fact that so many online publications opened more or less with the same lead, Lando Norris has become the latest Formula One driver to throw his support behind the sport's under-fire race director, Michael Masi, shows that they were all feeding from the same trough. The evidence therefore suggests that Lando and Daniel were manipulated by Zak Brown to make statements supporting Masi to varying degrees, so that Liberty Media can cynically circulate reports around the world to spread the false narrative that a growing number of drivers were backing Masi, at a time when their chief gopher, Martin Brundle, was supposedly calling for his dismissal. Ironically, instead of worrying about Masi, Ricciardo should be more concerned about the fact that Zak opted to put his teammate ahead of him in that fake report. Lando, for his part, should be more concerned about what will happen if he should be in a position to compete against the establishment's anointed champion, Max. Karma is a boomerang.